I'm Dr. Joyce Clark, and today we have the empowering Harambee Discussion. And around this table we have some of the most outstanding women who are out there in the field, and they're living in the real world of our girls. And at this time, I would like for each one of them to introduce themselves to you.
Hello, my name is Gwendolyn Kirkland. I'm Associate Pastor of Stewardship at Covenant United Church of Christ in the south suburbs of Illinois. I also am, for the last 31 years, a financial services professional with my own financial planning practice. I'm a former public school teacher, so I have had the pleasure of working directly in the school system for 8 years before I transitioned into other areas, sales and then financial services. Very interested in this topic, and I thank you so very much for the invitation.
Hi, my name is Crystal Crockett, and I am currently working with a non-for-profit organization working with young high school and junior high students. I am previously a high school teacher for the past 6 years, and I too am very happy and excited to be a part of this panel. This discussion touches home and is very, very important to me.
Hello, my name is Gloria Davis. I'm a former teacher, a retired principal and administrator with public schools. Currently, I work as an education consultant. I have 40 years or more in the field of education. I am honored, privileged to be a part of this panel today. I'm hoping that we will come away with a solution to the questions that we have on the table. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Imani Moore, and I am an advocate worker, and I have been a group facilitator for teen moms for over 10 years. I also work within the Chicago Public Schools, and I work with DCFS parents as well, young DCFS moms and fathers. And I also help them get their children back, either keep their children in the home or get their children back. I am also excited about being a part of this panel. I look forward to the wisdom that you all have to offer, and I look forward to being able to share the experiences that I've had.
Hello, my name is Iona Calhoun, and I am a ballet instructor, and I also have a degree in developmental psychology, and I'm pleased to be here.
Dr. Marilyn Scott. I have been in school, and I am a clinical psychologist. My role involvement with African American youth, both male and female. What I am concerned about, I think those concerns will be addressed today, and I think that you will learn a lot, because I look at the emotional development of people. I look at the psychological and social and different variables on African American girls.
Hello, my name is Joyce Darling. I'm a school social worker. Formerly was working with the Circuit Court of Cook County Social Services Department, working with the adult inmates and individuals that have been involved in the court system. My experience with the school social work support service has been, for the past 15 years, a very interesting, very enlightening, a very challenging time for me. I'm at the point now in my career that I'm moving forward to leading towards possibly retirement. However, at this point, I do want to extend the supports that I can to the young girls that I've been working with, as well as with in the community and as well as in the school system. I am very excited about being a part of this panel, and I'm looking forward to our discussion today.
Oh, that's wonderful. Things that you want to talk about.
I personally think that also our young women, our young girls, have a lack of identity. They don't know who they are, whose they are, where they come from, and their true worth as an individual.
Placed on our young girls. with being accepted in the schools, with being accepted with their friends, people in general expecting them to be something in which they may not know, like wanting them to do something that they're not accustomed to doing. That's traumatizing. You know, and then you're put in a position where you're forced to do something. Then you have to deal with your parents, then you have to deal with your teachers, then you got to deal with all these other different type of people. That's a lot of pressure. For one, we're talking about a child.
Right.
A child, that's a lot.
I think our children may be lost because many of our parents are lost.
Definitely.
The community, a lot of the people in the community are lost. I think everyone is seeking to be accepted. I think they're seeking to be loved. But what does that mean to us? But everybody wants to be loved and everybody wants to be accepted. But where do they get that guidance? And then are they open to the ones who have guidance, who can help them? And if they're not, then, you know, why not? And you talked about the pressure.
Instagram, and if it's cute to, you know, take a picture with your booty out and whatever else, kind of, you know, in order to even fit in, that teen girl trying to do that, not understanding necessarily the effects. I've worked with many teens and young ladies, and they do not understand the effects of social media. Whether you definitely have to, you know, take into the account that media and social media right now are playing a very big role in raising our children.
And then even how our young women dress, even with their hairstyles. You know, we're all individuals and we all have the right to choose to dress and wear what we choose to wear. But there's a time and a place for it.
Absolutely.
Some things are just not acceptable where in your regular everyday world, when you watch Beyonce, no disrespect to Beyonce, she's a very powerful young woman. But Sally, that's a sophomore or junior in high school, cannot wear the costume that Beyonce wears as that's a costume. That's not how she dresses when she goes to the store.
This is what they do, I'm told. They party with their kids. They're growing up with them. They don't know how to parent. They don't have the skills. They don't have anybody. They need reparenting.
We do have parents.
And then they are a parent, but then they are out there themselves. So we need to look at a way that we can really reparent the parents.
How do our parents feel when they come to you and when they come to the school, when they come to the church? How are we treating our parents?
To meet them where they are in order to elevate them. But if we're turning our nose up at them and shining our heads at them because mom didn't come in dressed the way we dress on a normal basis, if our clothes are too short, you know, you need to pull it down and pull it up.
When they start in the middle school, we need to have those parents in there. Parents need to come in and stay with that child for 1 year.
There are younger people that do not have the experience at all, the life experience, to be able to address some of the issues that they see. Some of them are, just like some of the parents, as we talked about earlier, some of them are into the social media themselves, or they're not really connected themselves with what it takes to be a role model to some of the younger children. And so, you know, so it's almost a conflict in a way, because it's difficult for the kids to take seriously what they hear from the social workers or you know, they think of them as their peers, and so they don't really relate on a level that's going to help them to grow.
Make it a movement that is just not here, but if we all joined together and became a community to say we are going to take back the responsibility for educating and socializing our girls. And we know we have problems, but we don't deal with the problem. We deal with how are we going to solve them. Because we do know how to solve them. Because we have a history of developing the civilizations that we are now enjoying. But many of us don't even know that we have a story. So I'm going to share with you why I was having a wonderful time in Florida, enjoying my retirement and all. And when I walk into Walmart's and I'd look at our little girls, and I would go out in the street and I would see our little girls and I'd say, we got a problem. But it was, in what way can I love the girls and they are someone special, and what can I do? And in my limited thought, I remember at the board all these fabulous programs that we had, and folks are getting degrees, and we were dealing with teen pregnancy, and we had the clinics and the whole thing, but it was always something that was missing. Because whether you had a PhD or no D, we had a problem. And we were kind of saying, oh no, but I don't have the problem, until I saw the meltdown on TV when the young lady says, when we said something about African American, she said, I'm not African American. I am an American, and I can be African American. I haven't even been to Africa. And I thought about, but if you go to work and if you ask your co-worker, they will say, I'm Italian American, I'm German American, I'm Swedish American, and I'm sure all of them have not been to that country. So that means that we've got a problem in identity. We've got an identity problem. My idea, just an idea that started, and it took me 12 years in order for it to come really something that is you can hold in your hands, is that I want to write a book because in all of the history books that they are getting, and I thought it had changed, but it's the same thing, you know, that Africa was a dark continent, and that the people were half human, and that the reason why they were slaves is because they deserved to be, because of their emotional upbringing, their IQ, and I thought, you know, something is wrong. If 9/10 of the population is of color and 1/10 doesn't have any color, how in the world did it get turned around that to be 9/10 is to be bad and to be 1/10 is to be good? And so I decided what I'm going to do, I'm going to write a book that really says, at one point in time, young ladies, you were queens, you were pharaohs, you were noted to be the most beautiful women in the world. And at this point in time, what you look like is not good and it needs fixing. And so I decided I was going to write a textbook that really said, somebody stole your stuff. Somebody stole your identity, and you need to get it back. And that's exactly what I did. I came up with the Discovery Reflective Journals, and in these journals, it tells about the history and the culture that we have. It tells about the beauty. What is beauty? Is it on the outside? Is it on the inside? Did our ancestors tell us about it? And how about our being sexual beings? You know, what is wrong? It's something about sex. But everything you see is half-naked ladies in the street, on TV, everything is showing, and then you're wondering, well, why are they so sexy? Well, everything they see is telling them, and we need to say, no, 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 take another look. You're someone special, and this is why you are. And then finally, it says spirituality. Our ancestors told us how to be of character, how to treat one another, and how to worship and deal with our resources, that we don't go polluting things and everything. And this comes from our African culture. And so I tried to come up with some journals that in one book did more to educate than all these social study textbooks that we have that really say nothing. And this is what we have. Journal 1 is for elementary school, and that's for grades 4, 5, and 6. Journal 2, would you hold that up, Joyce? That is for middle schools, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And Iona, would you hold up the high school? That's 10, 11, and 12. And in here, it's discovering my history and culture, discovering myself. Who am I? And also we dealt with, discovering my sexuality. Before, sexuality was just a part of life. And we need to learn that, and we need to think about going back to that. And also spirituality. What values do I have to determine how I'm going to think, to act, to speak? And our ancestors left us a whole writing system and a whole system of belief. And I think that we have to go back to that. And so that's what we're going to talk about. That's my solution. I'd like to know what you, number one, think about the books, and also, in addition to that, what other things can you think of that in what way can we help our girls? So this is just open. Anybody, whatever you want to say. After writing a dissertation and getting all those red marks on things, it doesn't bother me, whatever. You just jump in.
Well, I'll start off by saying first, Dr. Clark, I think that your books are phenomenal. I am honored as well as just pleased to have been a part of helping you, to develop your books.
Yes, you did.
I thank God for our connection, and I believe that these books will truly transform our young people's lives. But we got to get the books to them. They've got to read the books. We've got to be able to open up dialogue with our young people to help them to understand truly who they are. I like the pictures in your book and how it talks about you are special, you're valuable, you're beautiful. Now put your picture in the mirror and say it. Because when you look in the mirror and you speak those positive words, if you do it enough, you start to believe it. So that's the start, right in themselves, being able to identify, I'm okay with who I am. My kinky hair, my short hair, my long hair, my two-tone color hair, whatever the case may be, my blue eyes, my brown eyes, my light skin, my brown skin, my dark skin, it doesn't matter. This is how God created me, and I'm beautiful as I am. So I like the book and how it helps you to identify. It talks about you.
Okay.
I think that's absolutely fabulous and correct. And before we ended our last session, we seemed to be focusing on schools and education and what schools could do. And this book, these books, would be an excellent addition, inclusion to the curriculum in our schools. Either for the regular class, for a special class that's set up. I think, even though it said Discovery, Reflective Journal, Empowering Sister Girls, I think these books have broad universal application. Now, once you get into them, then there are some things that focus specifically on girls, but we all need to know that about girls.
Exactly.
Males and females. So I said, okay, this is empowering sister girls. It also empowers brother men and brother boys, okay? It's just, when I read through it, I was honored. I was proud to know you and call you friend. I say they are masterfully done.
Yes.
And they go from Kemet to Kwanzaa.
Yes.
From Kemet to Kwanzaa. And it just talks about all aspects of growth and development for our young ladies that everyone else in the population needs to know about too. And I think once they get to know who they are, know the truth about the history, you talk about Kemet is Egypt, and what happened to us as a people to get us to this point, then we can go back and make some changes. We know where we've come from. So I would love to see this not only in schools, but I think they would fit in church programs, they will fit in social centers, anywhere they would fit in homes with parents and children. And it's really, it's just so in depth. And it's like a curriculum guide. And I'm saying, wow, I just heard you say it took you 12 years. I believe it.
Yes.
Because it is so inclusive. You know, it offers activities. It gives background information, gives information, but it offers activities for teachers, for children, for parents to actually research and enlighten themselves. It's just powerful, and I think they're wonderful, and I think it is an answer that we're looking for today.
I believe that a lot of social service agencies, not-for-profit in particular, social service agencies, have parent educators. They, where they go into the home, whether it's a teen mom or it's just a parent in need of some social services, low-income parents to be in particular, they have parent educators that go into their home and they do parent-child activities, starting from birth up until, I mean, it's usually from birth until 6, but if they have older children in the home, they also include the older children as well. I think this will be ideal to take these into the social service agencies and promote this for them to include this in their bag to take, and they can educate the parents and the children with this curriculum. They can start from Journal 1 all the way to Journal 3. You know, I think that could be a start, a great start.
I have to say that I think the books are well needed, and you know, I'm glad that they're finally here. I have to say that, you know, I was raised in a predominantly white environment in high school, and I did not have the luxury of learning about African American history until later in high school, and then when I went away to college.
And it was wonderful because even though I went to a historically black college, I didn't learn what it meant to be an African American woman. I had to learn through alternative channels and through role models and so forth. But with the assimilation that's going on, you know, now that there's so many, there are young girls who go to mixed high schools and so forth, they've lost their identity and their historical identity. And you're right, you know, a lot of the other cultures, they always identify themselves as Polish American, Jewish American, and so forth. And you know, when you're in that environment, if you are not taught it, then you lose it. And that's where these books are needed. So not only at, you know, public schools and social service agencies, but I think also at private schools.
Yes.
Some of the private schools in the area would benefit from this book tremendously. especially those being Caucasian teachers who don't necessarily have the training, but would be able to follow a step-by-step of these books and journals would be very beneficial. And I even use them even in the dance studio. Understanding who they are, let's flip to page 23, ladies, and just let's go back and look through here. So I think it's a practical use. It's very comprehensive and easily adaptable to any situation, any agency or institution.
I agree with all that has been said. So you're leaving me with very little to say. Okay, we'll get serious now. Okay, well, I think that this is great. I perused through it. They've said a lot of what I would say, but I think that we could use this for the mentoring programs, like the Girl Scouts. A lot of our Girl Scouts, particularly they may be mixed scouts where they're not getting any kind of, when I say mixed, integrated Girl Scout units that I've seen, where they're not getting anything. The girls can also grow and develop there, so we can talk to the various scout leaders. I'm also thinking that we can deal with, I'm looking at mentoring programs. This would be an excellent resource for mentoring programs. This tells our story. And telling our stories need to be told, and we need to understand our stories. I think the book is excellent. I think it's well written, and I think that every African American person can identify with this book.
I must say, I do agree with everything that everyone has said. This is really, I've had the good fortune of being in on the ground floor and hearing about all of the workings as it started from the inception on up until its final creation. And it's been a pleasure being able to offer what little insights and little input I've been able to do to offer to Dr. Clark. I love these books. I really love them. I mean, I love the fact, it's something about when you're working with kids, they don't want to see a lot of narrative. They don't want to see a lot of, oh, you got to read that. Oh, this is going to be too much to read. Oh, this is going to be boring. Well, you open up this book, when you first bring the book out, and just the colorful, it just stands out. It just makes you really, when you bring it into a group of kids, they look at it and they go, oh, okay, oh, what's this? What are you going to do with us today? And I get excited because they're excited. And fortunately, I've had the opportunity to use this with a few of my groups, my social work groups. And the girls really love the books, they really do. The fact that they're interactive. It's not just reading, but you're reading and then you respond to what it is that you've read. It's not just, something that someone is explaining to you about, a particular topic or a particular area, and then you have to kind of think about it. That's offered as well. You can always have the opportunity to give your thoughts about what you just read or what we just talked about. But there's also the opportunity to test yourself, to question whether or not what I'm learning is going to be important to me. And that's what I think the kids, they love that. And then the other thing is that they have such good visuals. I mean, the pictures, I happen to have the good fortune of having me and my husband in the section where is a picture of us. I should have got to the page in the parent section where they talk about the significance of parents in your lives. And it talks to the kids about that, and that's just wonderful. I wish I could find that page, but I can't right now. But it's really great. It's really great. The thing that I really, and that's one of the things that has me. It's not really been a challenge, but it's been something that really gave me pause. Because I thought, starting from the beginning of this book, where you're talking about your culture, you're talking about Africa, you're talking about all of the, you're being given all of the African proverbs, and you're also talking about the alphabet, and being able to, I always thought that would be something that would be great for kids to be able to relate to because, you can spell the words using the African alphabet, using the alphabet. But what I did discover, though, is that starting with our culture and talking about Africa, it's not something that kids capture right away. You know, you have to start where they are. I think I heard that at the table before. You have to kind of start where the person is, and then you kind of move around and try to get that message across after you've gotten them caught, after you've gotten them connected. So what I've discovered is that I can't start just with Africa. I start with the part that they're interested in, and then I go and I say, well, now how does that relate to what, you know, we're talking about our hair. How does that relate to Africa and your understanding of Africa? And then they'll give me a little comment or whatever, and then I'll say, okay, well, let's take a look at the book in here. We're talking here about the texture of our hair and why that's significant and why Africa is our understanding and our background in Africa starts with the hair that's the kinky texture, you know. And what is that? What does that mean to you? How does that relate to how you relate to your peers? And, you know, so you kind of have to flip back and forth. At least that's what my experience has been. You kind of start where they are, you have a discussion, you talk about what it is that you find is important or what's significant to them, and then you bring it back to where you can relate it to the African culture. And it's been great. It's been great. It's been, I love these books. I've tried connecting this with the principal, you know, so that they can order the books so that they can have them available to all of the girls in the schools. But it really, really is an impactful, very impactful book. The journals are very enlightening, and I think that, you know, if we can get them around to everyone, like it was said at the table, mentoring groups, social service agencies, schools. You know, if we can figure out a way to just have the parents just, you know, come in and we can just have after-school meetings with parents, and we talk about how we're utilizing this, and I'm sure a lot of parents will be educated and be enlightened by what's in these books.
And I think you all should know that Joyce's sister, who is Dr. Calypso Atkins, who is at the University of
Minnesota,
and with the
African Studies Department.
I got a lot of input from her. And Calypso would say, this is great, however, I suggest you do this and that. And that's why Joyce, her family, you know, and some of you, you've had to, and Beverly over there, and my little one over there, I have used them, and they're sick of me every time it's going to come. I know the baby is thinking, now what is she going to do? But we've had the input and the excitement. Gwenny, what about you?
I would like to say that I think the term was lost identity. I'd like to say I think it's identity theft. And I think that that's a contemporary term that we're familiar with, and that the books help to solve the problem of identity theft and to give you the information that's needed to build some positive self-esteem for girls through, as Marilyn said, mentoring programs. And of course, my context that I'm thinking of is the church. So indeed, when we think about the girls mentoring program, and then another context I thought about, I don't think that's been lifted up as yet, is a sorority. I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, incorporated, and I can see with the educational outreach that we have to young women that it would be very important to expose them to this information. Of course, the spirituality section is near and dear to my heart because it does give you the preliminary, which shows the parallels to Christianity. How the ancient Egyptian Ma'at, principles of justice, and how you treat the earth, as you said, which now, from a contemporary setting, is considered environmental stewardship. We're stewards of the earth. And so all of this comes into context. It comes full circle, and you've done a great job.
Hi, my name is Iona Calhoun, and I am the director of the Iona Calhoun School of Ballet, and I love this book. Go get it. If you have young ladies who are in your care or in your world, get this book. Development, self-identity, and an interactive way to teach African American history. This book is a must. Get it today.
Hi, my name is Joyce Darling. I'm a school social worker for the public school system, and I am endorsing this Discovery Reflective Journal 2 by Dr. Joyce Clark. This is an excellent book for parents, social work service providers, teachers, community organizers, anyone that's interested in working with children. I think this book is excellent. Please, whatever you do, grab a book, try to use this with the staff or the kids that you work with. It'll be very important for their development.
Hi, I'm Reverend Gwendolyn Kirkland, and I wanted to be among the legion of people that really supports this enterprise. This book, a series of 3 workbooks, intergenerational for girls, that have been created, loved into existence by Dr. Joyce Clark. If you want to provide girls in your life, in your experience, with context of their African heritage, information and empowerment, you want to get this series. Make sure it's in the library for every young lady that you care about. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Crystal Crockett, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Sisters Home of New Beginnings, which is a home for young ladies 18 to 24. I am here to promote this wonderful series of books that was written by the one and only Dr. Joyce Clark. These books is a must-have. You must have these books in your library. If you have young women in your lives, if you know of young women that you are concerned about to move to the next level, to understand who they are, this is a must-have. Purchase this series of books. It will be the best purchase you can make in terms of educating our young girls.
Well, my name is Gloria Davis. I'm a retired principal and administrator with the public schools. I currently work as a consultant, and I am honored to highly recommend the series of books written by Dr. Joyce Clark, Discovery Reflective Journals, Journal 1, 2, and 3. And I'd just like to read you a quote from inside journal number 2. Until the lions have their own historians, tales of the hunt shall always glorify the hunters. You want the truth? It is chock full of information. It is also chock full of activities for students. It has universal appeal. Everyone can work with these, from schools to churches to social centers, what have you. It would behoove you, and I highly recommend that you include this in your activities.
Hi, my name is Imani Moore, and I'm an advocate worker / group facilitator for Teen Moms. And this Discovery Reflective Journal is a must-have. You have to get this journal. Whether you have adolescents at home, whether you work in the school systems, whether you're in church, whether you're riding a bus, wherever you at, you need to get this book. It is wonderful. It is a wonderful aid to the development of our youth, our African American youth. Dr. Joyce Clark is wonderful, and you have to go get this book.
I'm Dr. Marilyn Scott, and I am so glad to be here because I want you to take a look at this publication. This is one of the best publications I've ever read. Dr. Clark, I don't know how she did it, but she did. It's culturally specific. It also is something that you could share with anybody with an African face. Anybody. They would be more, that their head would just grow by leaps and bounds with the knowledge that they will have. Dr. Clark is phenomenal. You have got to get this book because it would be a kept secret if you didn't share it. So make sure you get the book.
I would love for you, after we have had this marvelous discussion, that you can say with all love and all vigor and all who you are. And let us say, who am I? I am Joanna Frank. I am an American. I am an American of African descent. I am an African American. I am proud to be an American from the African diaspora. that is full of life, growing, and awesomely changing. I am like Africa, full of life, growing, and awesomely changing. Hotep,
Hotep.
make it a great day.